fucking start it. Well, welcome back, everybody. That didn't make sense. Shit.
How did that not make sense?
I mean...
You said, welcome back, everybody.
That's like a commercial break thing. Welcome to the Always Wrong podcast.
Thanks for joining us again.
Have we ever introduced ourselves in all of this?
I mean, we've said our names a couple times.
Well, we'll just say first names. I'm Bill.
I am John.
All right.
Okay, I'm Jeff.
Okay.
But not really, I'm Jacob.
There you go. That's your name. Yeah, I feel like probably could have started the first one with some introductions, but maybe one day in the future.
Let's do it now. I am Jacob.
Well, we've already done them.
And then that is Bill.
Yep.
Sitting across from me.
Hello, audience. I mean, Nick.
Fuck yeah!
Oh, God.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Orange. Orange who? Orange, you glad I didn't say banana? Hold for applause.
I'm not even going to cut that silence out. I'm going to make it longer. I'm going to make it like 18 seconds.
Oh! My flashlight is on my phone.
That's interesting. Audience can't see that, but I can witness.
My phone says "Do not disturb" on.
That's
Alarms
good.
are silenced.
That's good. Keeps the magic pixies and noise from flying out of the
Nope,
phone.
turned it off.
Oh, all right.
I got a text message. My flashlight is still on.
Turn your fucking phone flashlight off.
Oh,
You
jeez. I wonder how long that's been on.
fucking spinnaker.
My watch apparently took a camera too. My watch apparently took a camera.
Cool. Didn't know it could do that with your fancy.
Of a black screen. I didn't look at that. That's a pretty nice picture of a black screen.
Yeah, it's great. I'd use that for a background for something.
Shut the fuck up.
I've done that before. Whenever I needed a black background, I would just like put my finger over. Yeah, just take a picture of a dark room.
So, Bill, we've wasted like 10 minutes of this. So,
We've wasted
how
like
was
5
your
minutes.
day?
My day, pretty good. Normal work day.
Yeah.
I'm
Normal work day.
and I'm not. Jesus, that threw me off. I hate you so much. Not only because it's degrading. I hate that video. I do not like.
What? How is it degrading in any way, shape, or form?
No. Not that the video's degrading. It's the cutting me down by going yeah. Because it sounds like you're interested, but I know better. No, I don't like that video.
Why?
I don't like the voice. Something about the voice.
Wait, who's the guys or the dogs?
The dogs.
I like the dog's voice. It makes me laugh a lot. I don't like the guy's voice. The guy's voice seems weird. But I'm sure a lot of our audience members, all 17,000 of them, at least one of them thinks my voice is weird.
17,000. You carry the 1,000. Yeah, you get to about 17,000. Oh my God. Oh, you found your thing. You found the thing you're going to pest me with this week and for the rest of my life. Great. This is great. I'm glad this is happening. God damn it.
Hey, don't bring God into this. This isn't that kind of podcast.
I'm grown. I do whatever I want.
Hey, so I'm telling you now because I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but you're not right in front of your microphone. It's like at an angle. Like, you're like this and your microphone's like this. I'm just saying, Mr. No, it's like this. Your camera's, what is this called? Look, I'm just going to fix it for you. There we go.
What you didn't see, audience, is that, let's see, these are two MXL 990 mics. The capsule is just about in line with that little metal ridge over the top there. Basically, if you're speaking into the MXL logo, you're speaking into the capsule.
Yeah?
So,
Yeah?
when he's trying to correct me on maybe 5 degrees of difference...
Yeah? What's bothering me enough to fucking be a point?
All right.
Yeah?
Jesus.
I already like how this is going. This is great.
None of... any of the silences that happened are probably not going to get cut out. Just out of spite.
Yeah?
Those are going to be silences. Never mind. Moving on.
Yeah?
Let's see. I wonder if we should dig into the topics or we should just keep kind of spitballing.
Well, you were telling me about your day and then you started talking about how degrading that video is. And I don't understand how degrading the video is. He wants bacon and food and the cat ends up getting it and he's like,
I'm going to fondle my mic really quick. There we go. Now it's fine.
Don't understand what just happened.
I hope that sounds awesome on the recording.
It's probably not.
It's great.
You get it.
It's great. Totally great. It was a normal work day.
Did you do a weed?
Did I write anyone up for weeds in their alley? Yes, I did. It turns out when you go into Tech Terrace, the further south you go, the worse things get.
Further south is higher numbers, lower numbers.
Higher street numbers. So going off of 19th, it's pretty nice places, and then I've got from 19th down to 34th.
Well, all the 19th places is the huge mansion type things, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they don't like to be written up. I can't talk about something right now because I don't know if it's going to end up being an investigation yet or not, or if I have to testify in court. But if I do, and when that all wraps up and the statute of limitations are up, then I'll bring it up.
Yeah, this won't be a thing anymore by the time that happens.
Probably, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We got 3 weeks in a row for.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good right now. I am hungry though.
Yeah, our projects last maybe 2 weeks at best, and they fall off.
Yeah, look at my RC car. We haven't played with that in forever. But then again, it has been broken. We've been waiting on parts.
Yeah, it works now. It works great. Now
Aaron, your part. I forgot to tell him else.
Yeah, now I just want mine back so we can smash them into each other.
Bash.
You bashing, bro? Oh God. But the thing I can't talk about is someone didn't take kindly to being writing up about things.
We don't take kindly to those. Don't take kindly to kindly things.
And rather than talk to me about it, they went over my head. They went over my boss's head. They went over his boss's head. So a letter came down from on high, and I got a phone call like, "Did you do this thing?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Okay, well, don't go by that house again." It's like, all right. And the thing is, this house is...
You loved the wife, didn't you?
No. The thing about this house is, it's next to an intersection where I have to pass constantly because of the way the roads are in that particular spot. So I passed that house probably twice on the day I wrote it up, twice the day after, and 2 or 3 times today. So they're probably getting all kinds of conspiracy theory about it. I'll tell you after the podcast.
Yeah, I'm confused. For our listeners that are confused, this is confusing.
It is. But otherwise, it was a normal work day. Let's see, I haven't gotten the Crown Victoria stuck yet. I haven't blown apart the oil pan on like a rock yet. So no real news there. And then I haven't like run out of work since that one Friday, so it's been fine.
It feels like a Friday today. I wish it was Friday.
It does. I'd be very happy it was a Friday. I think probably this weekend or next weekend, I'll probably run home for just for a brief talk with everybody down. Not talk, just to visit people. Because friend Alex wants me to go to an A&M game with him.
A what?
A&M game, a football game.
A&M. You football, bro?
I don't football, but
yeah,
I will attend said game for a friend. But
for said friend.
I really should have gone down last weekend. That's when the fuck you. See, I can barely hear it. It's going to come through crystal clear on the mic. And when I listen back to it, it's going to make me mad all over again. Hey there, audience. How you doing? Here's the whisper portion of the thing. I'll probably have to come in and edit this in a little loud, but it'll be fine. Anyway, last weekend was the marching festival at Blinn. And one of my classmates from Tech actually ended up going into that contest and winning it for his category.
What?
For marching 3A. He got a 1.
Who?
Ian.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah.
On brighter news.
Yeah.
I already told you about mine.
Well, tell the listeners.
Oh yeah. So I teach at this really small school. I think there's 37 band kids. Yeah.
Fuck. Okay.
So
that's a spike. That's a peak.
So this school hasn't received a first division ever. Oh, well, I can't say ever. I think it was in 14 years. They hadn't reached the second division and even more than that. But needless to say, for the past 14 years, they have got 3s and 4s.
Little sidebar. That's actually really similar to Ian's situation. He said they hadn't won the Blinn contest in like you said, 14 years, and they hadn't like gotten a good rating in any contest in just as long. So it's funny how similar things are.
So Ian's school's probably a lot bigger than mine now.
3A?
Jealous of. Mine's a 1A.
Oh yeah. For those that don't know, the A rating system, or at least as I understand it, because I never dealt with the A rating system.
Private school.
The more A's you have, the bigger the school is. And I think it goes up to 5A, but then
6A.
It goes up to 6A?
Yes, it does.
Well, back in my day, we didn't have anything beyond a 5A.
Back in my day.
What a wine! Making a dance for please. Okay, moving on.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about your school and how...
Oh, yeah. So, these kids are terrible. Like, they are great kids. I love each and every one of them.
These kids are terrible. They're great, but fuck them.
Like, I love them. They are hardworking when they want to be. They, great kids. But discipline was never established in them. And it's pretty terrible.
I know that game.
But I've said I wouldn't ever give up on these kids because, it was the card I was dealt, and you make the best of what you have. And I worked them hard. I made sure everybody knew I was there to, stay and make sure that they did well. Well, they had a competition last Saturday, so 2 Saturdays from when you're going to hear this. And they have one, the Saturday right before you're going to hear this. But at this past contest, they received the highest drumline score in all of the 1As, all of the 2As minus one high school, all of the 3As, all of the 4As, and only one 5A high school beat them out as well. The 6As just dominated.
Jesus.
But they got a high score on their percussion ratings. And the band did great as well. There was a few little things that we can fix that we're going to fix for this weekend.
Tuba kid fell over his tuba.
No, there's only one tuba player.
So the point stands.
Yeah.
Defense
but,
rest.
yeah, they did really good. I was really proud of them. If anybody is listening that goes to that school, good job.
Do not tell your kids you do a podcast. Do not do that. Raspberry jam filled. Do not do that. Jesus.
I'm hungry.
Oh, I did do one productive thing today, but I'm an idiot because of it. Or no, I'm an idiot, so therefore it happened. So my dad's birthday was...
Did you not get him a gift yet?
Oh, I did. My dad's birthday was yesterday.
Okay. Happy birthday, Bill's dad.
Yay. But I ordered him gifts like last Thursday or Friday.
What'd you get him?
I got him a... The interesting gift is a book called What If by Randall Munroe, the same guy who does XKCD. And it's just like hypothetical situations of like how fast would blank thing need to travel to do blank. It's not all speed related, but it's just interesting what if questions answered with math and science.
I get it.
So it's if I would enjoy it, it's chances are he'd probably enjoy it too. And then the other thing is the company he works at now has this philosophy called dune buggy, where it has to be fast and cheap. But none of these people have ever seen or used a dune buggy.
What?
And it's like dune buggies are money pits. It's where you throw money into a problem that's not going to be fixed easily.
Yeah.
What they really want is like a Kia that's cheap and it works.
Mm-hmm. What does your dad do?
Oil executive on the exploration side of it.
Why are they dealing with dune buggies?
They're not dealing with dune buggies. It's a company philosophy.
Oh, I get it. That's a metaphor.
So like, yes.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's a cheese wheel.
I thought you said it was a dune buggy.
It's a chode. What is to chode? That's a story for another day. You write that down.
Write that on your topics list there,
and
boy.
Chode. Got it. Okay. So that's like a company philosophy, and it's like new wave grad school project stuff. And I remember the first few days on the job, he just hated this philosophy, and he's not a fan of it, but it has its place. Basically, in everything they do, try to do it for as little money as possible and as fast as possible. But this starts... and it starts to break down because it's little things like they would try to get him the least costly flight from where he is now to their headquarters. And they would not cost that much flight-wise, but it would be connections to like 8 different states to get there.
Oh.
And so it would take him 6 hours to do a 2-hour flight. It's a waste of fucking time.
Yeah, that's not as fast as possible. That's just as cheap as possible.
Well, I mean, maybe the emphasis is on cheap or something. But he had to kind of pull a financial guy aside and say, this is what you're paying me per hour. This is how long it's taking me to get places. You're spending more money on my salary than actually getting me to where I need to go. It's a waste of time and money to do the cheapest thing, or what they think the cheapest. It's like they want to do the cheapest thing, but don't do their research. They don't realize.
So in the long run.
Yeah, so there's none of the long run stuff that needs to be done. So basically, I got him a little kid's book that has dune buggies on it, and a button that says bullshit. And so when you hit it, it'll go bullshit. And so I left a little note for each gift, but the bullshit button and the dune buggy book should be used in conjunction. And like whenever someone's in, they're like, yeah, we'll just do some bullshit. Just I feel like it would be very handy.
Your dad's so Donald Trumped.
What?
He's fired.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? He could be further from the Donald Trump. Speaking of politics, we could get into that. Did you watch the Democratic debate last night?
I saw some partial stuff on Bernie Sanders.
All right. It's not really worth
Discussing?
Yeah. If you didn't see all of it. Of course, I didn't see all of it
I
either.
didn't see any of it. I don't give a shit.
Fair enough. I only saw about half of it because I had to go to bed. My beddy time's at like 9:30.
Yeah.
Shut up. But yeah, it was interesting. It was less bashing and people hating than the Republican one.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
That's cool.
But whatever.
Yeah.
We'll see how things develop. The fuck was I saying? Oh, okay, so on the gifts I was getting my dad,
Yeah.
they were gonna get there by Tuesday. I'm like, great, they're gonna get there on his birthday. It'll be perfect.
Yeah.
I used my address.
You stupid idiot.
They shipped to my house. And I didn't realize it. Like, I realized before it shipped, and either I'm stupid or I couldn't find the change address option. I swear I've changed an address mid-shipping before, and just couldn't find it. I'm like, all right. So today, on my lunch break, I grabbed the Amazon box that stuff came in, dragged ass to the UPS store, and sent it to my dad.
Yeah, you are an idiot.
So he'll get it, but it'll be like 4 days late.
Stupid. You should have overnighted it.
That's
Spent
not...
the extra $100.
No. Oh god. But yeah, that was the productive thing I did today. Is I went to the UPS store. Bring it around town. For those that can't see, Jacob is swirling his neck or head around the microphone.
This fucking pop, whatever shit, this lollipop thing is distracting me way more than it should. This is also hurting my... I feel like Larry King right now. Now I understand.
If you're uncomfortable, adjust the mic. I have some... I
couldn't say it either. So...
Some technical difficulties music.
Yeah, but it's not for us. It's for your trader friends.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Nerd Codex is good people.
Yeah. Do they follow us? No, but we follow them.
I haven't told them yet.
We follow them on Twitter.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Did I do that? No. It's probably you.
Yeah, you followed us.
Huh.
You were our first follower.
Yeah, but I'm not Nerd Codex. I'm just Nifty Tree Player on Twitter. That's a separate account. I should tell them I started a podcast. I wonder if they'd be mad about that.
Why would they be mad about it? You're not tied to them.
Probably not. Well, technically I am.
No, you just did their music. They don't pay you a percentage or anything.
Actually, they would if we made any. Of course, we don't have a contract in place. It's all oral.
Yeah. Blowjobs and stuff.
That's only if we reach... Oh, God, I think we have... How many followers do we have at Nerd Codex?
Like 10?
Like 10. Yeah, it's not a lot. Maybe one day, when we're all YouTube famous. That would be cool. That's kind of an interesting thing, how YouTube has given the rise of celebrities. Like...
Justin Bieber?
That's an example. Or
oh, he came off of YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he did. No, he was making YouTube videos, got picked up by a label, and here we are.
Haynes?
Sure, that's something he does.
He does Haynes too? Well, how do you know so much about Justin Bieber?
He's done an underwear commercial. I don't know if it was Hanes. It might have been Calvin Klein. I don't know. I didn't pay that much attention to it. It's just what happens when you're on the internet as late as I am. That was an odd thing to say.
Do you fat fit a Justin Bieber?
I absolutely do not. Do not do. What was I saying? Yeah, it's funny what YouTube has accomplished. Where a lot of the media I watch now is on YouTube. I haven't, like, traditional media. I don't pay for cable. I pay for Netflix and Spotify, because Spotify is like, especially with my major, it doesn't make sense to not have like access to Spotify.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of TV shows, we should talk about the TV shows we watch because that's on my list of topics.
Right now, I fucking watch nothing.
Great. Cool.
I really like to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as I do homework.
I was gonna bring that up as well.
Because I've seen every episode like 30 times, so it's kind of nice because I can focus on my homework, but I can still kind of listen to what's going on the TV and still know what's happening.
Yeah. Let's see. I tend to watch it, whenever I need something just on.
Yeah, it's good background noise.
But watching those for the first time is great. Being introduced to those characters and then watching them
evolve,
degenerate into madness is the best thing. I actually didn't know about that show until a podcast. It was on the Internet Box podcast when Michael started just talking about the show and he started outlining how the characters worked, how they worked together, and how they changed. I'm an idiot, though, because I thought he was talking about Arrested Development. So I watched...
You are an idiot, but that's a good show, too.
It's a good show. I watched that show first, and then watched It's Always Sunny. So, It's Always Sunny is... Fuck.
Yep.
Eventually you'll break me of that habit, or I'll break you, whichever comes first.
You won't break me.
But on that show... You have a lot of people kind of compare it to Seinfeld, Jesus Christ, Seinfeld, in that it's kind of a show about nothing, and it's the situations the characters get themselves into that's so interesting. But with this character, it's like the gloves are off. It's like
I think it's like more naughty version of Seinfeld, if anything.
Yeah, it's the gloves are off and anything is up for
it's the South Park version.
Of scrutiny. But it's just a cool. I mean, it's funny as hell.
It's stupid humor, though. Like, people that are... I don't know. I feel like a lot of people hate it because it's just dumb.
If you want to call it, potty humor, whatever. But, I mean, when you look at it, it's a more, I almost said liturgical. That's the wrong fucking word. More literary level. Yeah. Can't believe I said that. Words like literary and rural and words like that, I cannot say. Washing machine. We've already talked about that. How you see where Dennis is a sociopath or a psychopath, and you see him devolve into that. But it's not a quick devolution into that. If you watch later episodes and come back to the beginning and for a rewatch, like I do every so often, it's like, oh, all the signs are there. With the character Mac, it's how he is so in denial about every aspect of his life, and all the signs are there from the beginning. Dee is kind of also in denial, but she's also just like, I guess the most productive one. Like, she tends to be employed more, has a car every now and then. Of course, they fucking destroy that car every now and then. Charlie is probably the most genuine character, but he's his own kind of crazy. Where you want to think you see how he works, but it's lampooned every now and then. Who am I forgetting? There's Frank. Jesus. So they introduced Frank in season 2. And season 1 holds up fine on its own, but the introduction of Frank really solidifies that group dynamic. And then you get to watch Frank devolve from a kind of eccentric businessman to he just, like he says, like, I only got a few years left on this planet. I'm going to get real weird with it. And Jesus Christ, does he. So he's like belching up wine from a can. He's like, you are a disgusting animal. It's just, goddamn Danny DeVito, goddamn. And then if you follow Danny DeVito on Twitter, he's like, he'll post pictures of his feet and call like troll foot. It's like, I think Danny DeVito is Frank.
Yeah. He's just evolved into one person.
Fucking weird.
You gotta pay the troll toll. If you want to get into the boys' hole, you gotta pay the troll toll to get in.
You gotta pay the troll toll, get into that boys' hole. Okay. Stop it.
I'm here.
I am up to here.
Yeah.
That is from...
We need to have a video podcast.
A little bit. Sometimes. We'll do
every fourth video will be, every fourth podcast will be a video podcast.
I would say, that? Or every like milestone, like maybe podcast number 10 do a video, podcast 100, or
like once a month.
It's not a bad idea. So this is number 3, right?
Yeah. So next week,
do a video one for next time.
Yeah.
All right, you got a week, motherfucker. Get us a camera.
Ba-dum-bum-bum.
That was over my head. I'm a little proud of that. Would have been great on a video podcast.
What?
I was like in a resting position and like snapped my hands together. Kind of.
You clapped. You developed motor skills. Good job.
Let me just have this one, man. Let me just have one of them. Jesus. But
Alright.
that show is... That would be the only reason I would buy cable. Is for, I guess, FXX is what it demurs on. Because they're only up to season, I think, 8 or 9 on Netflix. And 10's already out, and they're working on 11.
Is it on Hulu?
I don't fuck with Hulu. Because you can pay money and they'll still run ads.
Actually, if you pay $11 a month, there's a commercial-free ad.
Ugh,
It's just expensive.
that bothers me.
Yeah! It fucking pisses me off, too.
Actually, Netflix just bumped up the price by $1.
Really?
Yeah. So instead of I think it was $8.99, now it's $9.99. Or it was $7.99, now it's $8.99. But point is, I got that email, it's like... I haven't watched Columbo in a while, so I was like, yeah, I could probably justify not having it, but I kept it anyway. That's a show, Columbo. Again, a show I found from a podcast on the...
Nah, they're only up to season 9.
Yeah, on the Kind of Funny podcast. I think it was Colin who brought up Columbo, because they were talking about...
Colin
Moriarty from that show. Different guy. Not the guy from Sherlock. Also a good show.
Honestly, I thought you were talking about my friend Colin.
No, not talking
Hey,
about...
Colin, we mentioned you again. Watch the damn podcast.
Watch the Listen podcast. Every time we mention Colin, we're gonna like tell him that we mentioned him, but it's not gonna
Write
be
down
nice
on our topic list that I have a funny story to tell you about Colin.
Colin story.
Put sub.
What?
Sub.
Yeah,
because I'll forget.
Sub stands for Student Union Building.
That is where we gather. Boom.
Ding. I need some finger symbols for that. The more you know. Bing.
You know, you have this thing called a computer. The computer has thousands of millions of sounds. And I'm sure.
Yeah, let me just risk crashing the podcast recording to maybe find a sound.
You know how you do like post editing shit? Yeah, you could find one and insert it there.
I might. I probably won't though.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think you would.
I'd have to find it and that'd be a thing. Well, we'll see.
Or you could just go buy some finger symbols.
Is it worth it for the podcast?
You buy a whole bunch of pointless shit you don't need anyways.
From what? What are you talking about?
From what?
Sorry. What equipment or what? What's pointless in here?
A drum set. What do you need a drum set for?
That was a gift. That was a birthday gift when I was... No, wait. No. That one wasn't a gift.
Yeah, your Rogers one was a gift.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I know more about your life than you do.
Well,
your lights flickered.
They did, because the AC just kicked on. But don't worry, the sound filter is on. Thanks. But what was I talking about? I've already forgotten.
Columbo and Colin.
Yeah, I heard about it on a podcast where someone explained the premise to me, because I had heard about it. I had heard about the whole one more thing. It's like, oh, just one more thing. And then that's when he, picks apart the villain in every story. They didn't explain how he was like a savant. How when every Columbo episode starts with, you see the murderer and the victim, how they begin to interact, and then how the murder is actually done, where it takes place, who all's involved. So the audience knows how exactly, or like what happened, and then you watch Columbo figure it out.
That's no fun. Half the fun is figuring out who did it.
He has to prove it, though. So he does it by, like...
Yeah, but if you see it happen, you already know.
But how do we know?
How do we know?
Again, well, it's no, it's not.
It should be. We fucking reference that as shit.
But how do we... Okay, let's make a point to explain that joke this podcast.
Well, this podcast has been going on too long already. I'm fucking hungry.
Do we...
It's over. I'm leaving.
30-minute podcast?
No.
Fuck off. At least an hour. That's all I ask. We've done pretty consistently like an hour 20.
Yeah, we have.
It'll be fine. But yeah, each episode opens with the murder. You get to watch Columbo. He basically has to prove it and collect evidence. Wait for the villain to slip up. Occasionally they'll have celebrity cameos as the villain. You'll see them, chew the scenery and act their pants off doing stuff. It's pretty cool.
Do they figure out everything from semen?
No, that's CSI.
Uh,
That's also where they just slap a keyboard, and that's hacking to them. And then another person joins on the keyboard, and that's super hacking to them.
what do you have against Bones now? I fucking love Bones.
Didn't say Bones, but
I know, but you're fucking bashing CSI, Bones? What? There's a hot chick that fucking does shit with facial stuff that I don't even know half the shit she uses doesn't make sense.
Are we talking about the right bone here? You said a hot chick who does facial stuff. That's a little vague. No, you're talking about...
Talk about Angela.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fucking...
Angie.
She's been with everybody in the fucking office, but I still would pee in her butt.
Wouldn't we all? But, so, yeah, that show, I like the way they handle...
Hello, viewers. Can you hear me?
From the back of the microphone, yes. It's called a cardioid pattern. Wait. No, it's no, it's figure. I don't remember what the fucking microphone pattern
Is it important?
No, not at all.
Then continue.
So I like the technical aspects of the show, the special effects, how seemingly factual a lot of things are. There's less ridiculous showy bullshit like there is in CSI. I just don't like Emily Deschanel's voice. It bothers me.
No, Booth.
No, she's like, Booth. That's how she sounds in everything. Maybe it's a lot. That's how she sounds. It's like her nose is slammed, like someone punched her in the face like 6 times, and then they just kind of sent her out the door after that. And she sounds like she has a sinus infection all the time. And then after I realized that, you know, I struggled through like 8 seasons of that show with that. I'm like, fuck, I cannot stand her voice. And then I go back and start to watch movies with Zooey Deschanel in them, and like the she and him stuff she does. And it's like, I can't stand their voice. Something about the construction of their skull does not jive with me. Everything's like, it sounds weirdly nasal, and I realize that I sound so fucking nasal anyway, that it's almost said the curtain calling the horse black. That's fucking ridiculous. The kettle calling the pot calling the kettle black. That's not a simile, it's a metaphor. Probably.
Like or as,
It's
Bill.
an idiom. It's an idiom, that's
You're
what that
an
was.
idiot.
You're an idiom. But yeah, I just can't stand her voice. Sure, she's pretty, but I just, that sound, that's all.
Hey, well, guess what?
What?
At the end of the day, she's making a shit ton more money than you.
Oh, yeah.
Even with her voice that you think
There's
she...
hope. I
like
guess
her
there's
voice.
hope for me yet then.
It's
Because I do
soothing.
sound like that.
It is soothing.
I don't sound as nasal as I do in my head as I do in the recording. When I listen back to this, I go, oh, Jesus. It's just more of the same. It's just a feedback loop of nasal.
I just hope that this recording of my mic this time sounds decent. I've made it a point to like fucking put my nose in this bitch. I can smell everybody's breath that has been on here.
I can smell it. There actually hasn't been a lot of... That one was used last by you, so...
Smells like dirt.
Well, there you go.
Oh.
Well, the thing is, you know, the bacteria... The bacteria in the mouth that dies is kind of similar to the bacteria that is in poop. So it smells like poop.
Yeah. It
It's
smells like dirt.
It's just like dead bacteria.
Yeah.
This one smells like nylon.
It smells like what?
Nylon. Because that's what it is. But yeah.
It smells like viewers at home, listeners at home, whatever. It smells like back in the old days where you used to put that the tint thing that you would put on your windows. That you would get the little sticky thing, you would lick it, you stick it to the window, and you put it. I don't know what you're
I'm just providing like gentle background music while you talk about the good old days.
Randy Mace here with OxyClean.
Whew. Negative 0.1 dB on that time. That was loud. It's gonna be great when I run this through the compressor later. Shut up.
Shut up. Yeah. So Colin, are you done talking?
Yeah, fuck whatever I was talking about. It was me bitching about bones.
I like bones. I like bones.
But bones.
What?
Made myself laugh. I just said Booth, but in a funny voice. I don't remember any of the characters' names.
Booth, Hodgins, Sweets, Angela.
The weirdo named Zach who ate people.
Oh yeah, I like Zach. The British guy that gets shot, that was kind of cool.
Don't remember.
He was an intern.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that guy.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Bones, you should probably go watch Bones.
Oh yeah, totally watch it.
Show.
If you can, if you're not me and don't get hung up on just the most ridiculous thing,
yeah,
then yeah, you'll probably enjoy it.
Not even that bad.
Or I've ruined the show for everyone, which is good.
No, it's a good show.
If Fran Drescher can fix her voice for like a single gag in whatever show she was in that one time, then yeah, so can Emily Deschanel.
Fran Drescher sounds like this, kind of.
I don't know who that
I'm not sure I do either. Moving on.
is. So, Colin.
Yeah.
Colin, you better listen to this one, because I am talking about you a whole lot.
Every time we mention Colin, we're gonna pull Colin aside. It's like, hey, we talked about you in podcast. It's like, it wasn't good. And just psych him up about it. You'd be like, what did you say? What did you say about me?
I don't know, you're going to have to watch it. I'm not going to tell you when it was either. Anyways. So, he's been talking to this girl, who shall remain as Yef. And him and Yef, it's very, very new. Like, this hasn't even been going on a week from this recording. So, today is Wednesday.
You want to finish dating the podcast?
And it is October 14th,
2015. What?
I'm
Okay.
from the future. Why is that so happy for you?
It just feels good. All right, enough of that.
I don't understand.
Mark that, because probably turn those down a little bit.
How do we know?
But how do we know? Or keep explaining
Yeah,
the story.
I know you
That's
finished
my
the
next
story.
topic, is explaining the how do we know.
So, today when I had to come get, my drum set from your house,
You did.
I was gonna call Colin to see if he wanted to come, because
Just to help. I mean, one of his items is here anyway. You could... The hi-hats?
Oh yeah, but I needed those anyways. But yeah, I was just gonna see if he wanted to come because he's not normally doing anything. So I call him. I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm having lunch." I was like, "With who?" He was like, "With someone." I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "So where you at?" And that's where he fucked up because he was like, "Oh, I'm in the sub cafeteria." I was like, "Oh, okay. Well,
You keep just like running. Colin!
no, well, shut up." So I'm walking
What?
down to the basement at this point, in the music building. And sure enough, there's a group of percussionists there. I'm like, hey, I'm still on the phone with Colin, by the way. I'm like, hey, who wants to go fuck with Colin and whoever he's eating lunch with? And Colin's on the other line like, no! No! God, no! No!
God, please, no! No!
No!
No!
So he's like, no, Jacob. No, I was like, bye, Colin. So hang up. He just told me where he was at. So I don't know specifically where he's at. I just know he's somewhere in the sub. So, Hudson was the only one that wanted to really come because everybody has important shit to do, Like,
Yeah.
people have to go to band.
Go to
other
school,
people have to- Yeah, shit.
Classes
So,
and shit. I know what that used to be like.
I have an hour to get to my car, load my drum set, go back to school, go to the, percussion studio, load up, and then make it to bed on time. But I feel this is important.
Sure.
So
course
I
it is.
walked to the sub, and as soon as I hit the sub cafeteria, at the not the top of my lungs, but it was higher on there, I just start yelling his name, like, Colin, I am looking for Colin with
Nope.
2 L's. Ah, shit.
I'll have to bleep that.
Yep, you will with a yeah.
I'll probably actually learn how to bleep properly.
Nah.
I get a real bleep.
So I'm looking for Colin, last name. Insert here.
Thank you.
So I'm yelling and looking for him, and I don't know where he is. And then, Hudson and I start thinking like, okay, if we were Colin and we were trying to hide from everybody, where would I be?
Probably
And we
one of the
figured-
study rooms over the...
No, we were like, no, he's in the actual cafeteria where the sub is.
Ooh.
So like where Chick-fil-A is, you know how you come
Yeah.
out, like their seating?
And the
He's there,
stupid
so we're
stairs
like,
and shit. Yeah.
oh, he has to be in the back somewhere. So I still walk up to the second, floor-ish type thing. And I'm yelling. I'm like, I'm looking for Colin. Has anybody seen Colin?
Oh my god.
And people are looking at me like I'm
You're
fucking...
making a fucking
Oh,
scene.
you have no idea. People didn't know if I was going to beat his ass, like I was just being an asshole or what. But people were looking at me, and he definitely knew I was there at that point. I just didn't know where he
He's
was.
just like head down, like, oh my god.
So I went to the second floor so I could kind of see over and figure out where he was at. So I finally spot him, and I only spot him because the girl he's talking to is like, and like pointing at her, like she's like pointing at him, And I'm just yelling even louder now because I finally see him. And it's kind of like one of those Walking Dead, like, Carl! Carl!
Coral!
Yeah.
Coral!
So, I'm just like, Colin! Colin! Where are you, Colin? I'm looking for you! And I'm yelling. I'm making a complete ass out of myself.
As you get closer to his table, everyone's focusing in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
And by this point, his head is just dug so far into his balls. Like,
It's just like...
he is trying to hide so bad. And she's just pointing him out. And people are looking at him turn red. Looking at me being a jerk. Hudson's kind of getting embarrassed by this
like,
point.
Holy shit.
Like, he's like, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So we finally, like, reach his table, right? And I, like, he has food. He has got some fries that he had already, you know, munched at. He already finished the majority of it. But he had some fries, and I was kind of hungry. Mm-hmm. So I was like, hey, Colin, like, what's going on?
Oh
Get a
my
fry.
God.
Dunk it in. I was like, hey, these fries are pretty good. That's some good sauce. What is it, buddy?
Fucking
You know, I'm
Mike
being all
maneuver right
chipper. And I'm just... Colin is just like... Hey, Jacob. Like, it's like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you know, you busy? You know? And he's got a date with this girl today at, you know, later on tonight.
Are you going to tell him, like, the place and time? Make sure everybody else can fucking find them?
I mean, it'll be kind of late by now. This isn't a live
They'll
stream.
figure it out. It's all fun and games till the audience kills Colin.
Well, anyways, so I'm just like, so what time's our date today? Is it at, you know, this time? And she was like, oh my God, you told him what time too? And he looks, she's like, no, I didn't, I swear. So I'm dying by this point. And then Hudson just adds to it by saying, oh yeah, and then smash at my house at 7. And in my head, I heard smash.
Oh.
And I thought like penetration, like sex, you know?
Thanks for the visual there.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I was like, oh yeah, but we're going to smash at 6, you know, so you can have them afterwards. And Colin starts laughing. And, you know, Colin's just like, oh my God, by this point. And I still don't know who this girl is. So I'm just like, well, thanks for being rude, Colin, and not introducing me to your date here. God. So she stands up and she's like, hi, my name is Yef. Like, nice to meet you. And I'm like, hi, Yef. My name
That's
is
a strange name.
Yeah, I was like, my name is Jacob. Nice to meet you too. And then Hudson, you know, introduces himself, whatever. But Colin is just so red at this point. He's just not having it. He's so embarrassed. And I'm just happy. But I've also wasted 10 minutes of my time that I, you know, could have used. And, yeah, it was just a great time. I had a great time. Many people looked at me. And as I'm leaving, because, you know, I finished messing with them, I'm like halfway through the song. I'm like, bye, Colin! God damn. What did he peak at?
0 dB. Technically a peak, but I'm not gonna call damage on that.
But, yeah.
But, fuck you!
Doesn't bother me as much as it bothers you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Suck a dick. Oh, poor Colin.
Yeah. And it's probably going to continue. I wish I could say her real name because I refer to her as Davidson.
Is it Crystal Metheny?
It is not.
That's her name now.
Okay, Crystal Metheny.
Crystal Metheny. Got it.
What is it? Metheny?
Metheny. Like Bethany.
Like Bethany, but without the B?
Yes. With
an
an
M?
Yeah.
Crystal
I'm glad we
Metheny.
could clear that up and explain it.
Yeah. All right, Colin and Crystal Metheny.
That actually rolls off the tongue more than I expected it to. Okay. We keep saying, but how do we know?
Oh, yeah, but how do we know?
And that comes from, it's not one of my stories, it's actually one of my friend Ian's stories.
Ian!
Just dub horns. I'm not editing in dub horns, that's too much work. Unless we get your little DJ thing and dub horn it up.
Just download DD. I didn't know if I could say brand names on here.
Yeah.
You should just download DDJ.
If I keep shitting on the Ford Crown Victoria. Then
just DDJ Wego. No, that's the fucking mixer. Virtual DJ.
Virtual DJ?
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I used to use to mix
Maybe.
a lot of things.
It depends. How much work I'll put in this really depends on whether or not I go home this weekend. Or next weekend.
I thought you said next weekend.
I have no idea when.
If you go home this weekend, I'll house it for you.
That's not a bad idea. Might be a good idea. Still waiting on my friend Alex to respond, because I don't know if I'm playing an game this weekend or not.
Yeah. You realize you have this thing called the interwebs. And on the interwebs, you can goggle things like, does A&M have a football game this weekend?
Okay, Google.
Okay, Google.
You're embarrassing me. Okay, Google. Fuck you. All right. Well, that didn't work.
That's one thing that I don't like about my phone. I have the Galaxy Note 5, and I used to like that the Note 4, I could just go, okay, Google, or hi, Google, and it would go, bling. And the Note 5, I don't know how to do it or if it does it. My watch, I have the Gear 2 watch, and it does it, but I also don't know how to do it on there. If any of our viewers know how to do this on Facebook or on Twitter, please message us.
The best way to get an answer on the internet is not to just ask the question. It's actually to give the wrong information, and then someone will correct you.
Testicles.
That
is all. So back to the Ian story.
He was in, I think it was in like concert band or...
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was concert band. So concert band at Tech is where majors will be in a band, but it's generally slightly less... It's not necessarily lesser skilled. Sometimes it's lesser disciplined, things like that. So basically, if you're a freshman at Tech, there's an okay chance you'll end up in concert band, but really it just depends on how you audition. If you audition poorly, you'll end up in concert band.
And some other studios might just be way harder than others.
Oh yeah, like in the tuba studio.
Yeah.
To get into the orchestra, you've got to be like a doctoral student to be up in there. And then like the tuba players at Tech are phenomenal. So like the tuba section in concert band is better than the tuba sections in most ensembles. That's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
So Ian's in there, I think, with another tuba player. And the tubas sit next to the trombones in most concert band setups. Sometimes you can pull a, not going to say last name, a Yef, and mix things up. But otherwise, low brass tends to be next to low brass. And so, in concert band, during rehearsal, sometimes... Stop fucking peeking at me. Stop. Sometimes you're given a list of what you're going to rehearse that day. Maybe it's written on a whiteboard, or it's just whatever the conductor calls out. So... They finish rehearsing one piece and they move on to the next one. Now, sometimes in the hustle and bustle of moving, you can kind of lose track of what the conductor says, or it's just not clear. One trombone player decided that this is when I'm going to melt down about the whole thing. Basically, he missed what the conductor said, what the next piece was going to be, and he was freaking out about it. It's like, what piece we're playing next? And Ian... Like any sensible musician, one of the options you have is look at the person next to you or look at the person in front of you and see what they have put up. Because like 8 times out of 10, they've got the next piece queued up because they were paying attention, you weren't, asshole. So... And
the person next to them might have the same piece also.
So, like, you're not alone in the band. You can go and go, hey, what piece are we playing next? Oh, thanks. But this guy was just like, he couldn't see past the blinders. He's like, what piece are we playing next? And he's like, it's da-da-da-da. And he's like... But how do we know? He's like, what? He's like, but how do we know it's da-da-da-da? And Ian's like, I just looked ahead and it's like, but how do we know? And so he had to like be calmed down because apparently he had never considered looking around him in the ensemble with like 40 other people who are like asking or just looking and going, oh, we're playing da-da-da-da now.
I've never played da-da-da-da. Is it by Budum?
Suck a dick, that dick. Okay.
Suck a dick.
Stop that. Okay.
I thought we were going into bum 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 bum.
We're gonna get a copyright strike. Jesus. No, that was a joke. But yeah, every time we say, but how do we know?
Oh yeah.
It's just whenever it's like, but why? But how do we know?
How do we know?
But how do we know? But yeah, if you ever just think of a trombone player looking around in a frantic panic, not knowing what piece we're gonna play next.
Frantic Panic. That's a good song.
That's my. I was gonna make a cover band joke, but I can't think of a band do it. That's my. That's my Franz Ferdinand cover band. Frantic Panic. Never mind. That was a joke for me. Sometimes I say jokes for the audience. Sometimes they're for Jacob. Most of the time they're just for me, just to make me feel good. That's where that story comes from.
Why did we call this Frantic Panic?
Because I just thought of that combination of words. There's no way.
That's a way better title.
I'm going to write it down.
No, I like always wrong.
So
we have too many things with always wrong. I am not changing anything.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a pain in the ass to change everything, especially the email address.
Yeah!
Because we have to change
Which is always69wrong at gmail.com.
Something we didn't mention in the last episode, the 69 in that is numerical. So always number 69 wrong at gmail.com.
Hey, we also have a new follower on SoundCloud. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it.
Who that is?
Yes. Yeah.
It's funny, I kind of wanted to come into this one like, it's like, hey, we got an intro now. But I put it on the second one. We didn't mention it. We could have pretended last time and I would have made it.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you weren't even sure if you were going to pull through.
Yeah, I was like, it should probably be. And I made the intro last Friday, I think. Or last Thursday or last Friday. But yeah, I just got home, like, it was in my head enough. I'm like, yeah, I think I got it.
Hey, we have an intro now!
Yeah. We'll start there.
Everything else just goes to shit.
Just dump 55 minutes of material.
Jesus, 55 minutes?
Yeah, we're getting close to some kind of wrap-up.
We haven't even fucking talked about anything. This is Seinfeld right here. Show about fucking nothing.
And that's what people, I think, like the most about podcasts. I mean, I've listened to podcasts that are super organized, like on the Game Over Greggy show. They each show up with one topic to talk about, and it needs to fill about 20 minutes. That's pretty organized. It works. They export the 20-minute segments separately over the week, and then at the end of the week, you can get the whole thing. So that's nice and organized. On the Internet Box, it would usually be just shooting the shit for an hour, 2, 3 hours, however long they went. And then occasionally they have topics to talk about if something big happened, but it was just like discussing their favorite video games, their favorite TV shows. And that's how I found It's Always Sunny. So if we can introduce people to Always Sunny, it's fine by me. Speaking of video games, I think we should talk about video games. A little bit, anyway.
We like different video games. I like Minded Craft, but we don't play that anymore.
Minded Craft. Jesus. What video games do you play?
I play a lot of sports games. So, Madden, FIFA, I fucking dominate at FIFA. Basketball games I can play for a little bit, but they get kind of boring. I like MLB, but I'm really into Madden and FIFA. Those are my two, bugaboos. I really like them. And Call of Duty. I also rock at Call of Duty. Kind of. I'm pretty good. When I want to be.
When we played Call of Duty, did I do well in that at all, or was it just average?
No, you did. You did okay. You like Borderlands, so yeah. It's not too much.
I like first-person shooters. There's the kind of intrinsic novelty of getting to shoot a gun, because that's fun, but doing it in a video game reality, so you can not have to, actually. The worst part about real guns in real life is loading the magazines, and not having to do that in a video game is the best.
You still have to reload. It's called X.
Yeah, but it's not.
Square.
You're not just fucking diddling the X button over and over again to force cartridges into a round, and sometimes get backwards and they all fly out at once.
Well, don't be stupid.
Exactly. So
I want a revolver. I want a Colt 45.
No, we all. No, I like first-person shooters, but I don't like the competitive aspect of them. I don't like Call of Duty. I don't really like Halo multiplayer, even though I played.
What about Call of Duty storylines?
I liked the one in Call of Duty 2, and that's about it. That was a World War II based one.
No, World of War was the World War II based one.
What?
World of War.
What was Call of Duty 2 then? Why did I have a fucking grease gun from Germany shooting Germans with it?
How did we know?
Yeah, how do we know? For me, video games kind of fill the movie hole. I'm not that big a fan of movies. I've seen a few movies and I've liked a few movies, but for me, I'm more engaged if I'm... Fucking leave. Stop peeking around the mic. You're just gophering over there. Hedgehog. No, gophering.
Prairie dogging?
Prairie dogging. That's what I meant. You're groundhogging. You're muskratting.
I don't like this. It takes I feel like it blocks so much of my
you don't.
view.
The way these mics work, you can have it. Typically, they're kind of above or below. So see how mine's not entirely in line with me. It's kind of below me.
Okay, you said talk directly into the fucking mic.
Whatever. The point is, it's up and down. You were over to the side. I'm still right, mostly. It's, staying in one spot. Right now, you're fucking gopher dogging all over the place.
Well, because I, sit right here, and all I see is Okay.
Okay. Cut that out.
Sounds like an arcade game.
It's kind of the point. Of course, that gives it kind of a video game slant. We really don't talk about video games except for
We're
right
talking
now.
about right now.
Hey, how about that? Okay, back to what I was talking
We're
about.
talking video games today.
Dead air. So I like games with in storylines. Now here's the caveat to that. Nowadays, when you hear games with stories, you kind of think of the Telltale series.
Like Skyrim and shit?
Not necessarily. That's more of a role-playing game. Telltale games like it's not the pre-sequel. There's a Borderlands Telltale game. Telltale is really well known for the Walking Dead video games, and oh my god, my voice is going. And the Game of Thrones games.
Was it a Game of Thrones game?
Yeah.
I played the Walking Dead game one. Is that like where you like it's kind of you choose your own fate type thing?
Yeah, and everything's kind of a quick time event. So like, you're in the car when you start. Spoilers. You're in the car when it's like a 3-year-old game. Get over yourself. Let's have a spoiler rule. Let's wait like 2 weeks. If we ever watch something new and we want to talk about it,
Come on, Bill.
wait like 2 weeks. Except we don't watch the same shit, and I don't watch movies.
Yeah, I don't really. I think the last movie. Have you seen Pitch Perfect?
No.
You need to get your shit together. That movie's hilarious.
Back to video games. Okay, so I watch games. Fuck. I play games with a lot of story. I would say my favorite game series is the BioShock series, especially BioShock Infinite.
It's the one with the cowboy, right?
What?
In the front, like the.
Do you mean Red Dead Redemption?
No.
That's also a really good game. I like that game a lot.
I like China. What's that game we play together?
What? China's not here.
Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Thanks, China.
You're welcome. Not what China sounds like at all.
Yeah, doggy, that's what you get. Yes, sir.
Fucking Montana knee slapper right there. Here's the thing. Left 4 Dead is a Valve game. Valve is the company that makes them. I like those games a lot too for their story. But the way they do story is a little different. It's very sparse. Valve is big on gameplay, and then if you kind of hunt for the story, you'll find it. And so like in Left 4 Dead, you can play Left 4 Dead 1 and go into Left 4 Dead 2, and those happen in the same storyline. Left 4 Dead 1 is kind of in, Atlanta, I think? No, that's not right. Left 4 Dead 2 is definitely in Georgia over to Louisiana in a New Orleans-esque place. They're both taking place mostly on the east coast of the U.S., and like they'll pass a street sign, and it's like an actual highway or whatever. Kind of like, can't remember the game. Never mind. But, fuck you! So the story's there. If you look for it, you can read the scrollings on the wall, or you can be the guy who just likes to show up and shoot zombies, and it's a great game for that. But I like the story in those too. In BioShock, it's more narrative driven. Like with games, you can either have really strong narrative or really strong gameplay. Sometimes both, but not always, because it takes a lot of work to do one thing well, and doing both narrative and gameplay well it's a nightmare. You need to pay a lot of people a lot of money to do it right. And even then, sometimes it turns out bad. So like in BioShock, gameplay is great in 1. Some people didn't like the gameplay in 2, and I thought the gameplay was good in BioShock Infinite, which is the third and final, probably. But it's also story-driven, where, again, spoilers, where in the first one, you just kind of wake up as a character, not really wake up, but you're in a plane crash, so the best water rendering I've ever seen happens, then you are introduced to this just nightmarish utopian, but then dystopian wasteland of a place called Rapture. It's a city that's under the fucking water, where a guy's like, fuck it, I don't want to be in this country, I don't want to live on this planet anymore, and so he builds a city underwater. And then
he have gills?
he's also like a really, really wealthy businessman. So he uses his money to build this city. He built this city. He built this city on rock and roll. And mark that to check the volume of that later. So he built that city underwater, and it's invite only. You like apply to get in there, and it's like, I think the slogan's like, no gods, no kings, only man. So it's It's atheistic. It's a little bit communistic and socialistic, but not quite. It's really... The whole thing there is a man is entitled to the sweat of his brow. Oh no, it's capitalism. What am I thinking? Yeah, it's capitalistic. So basically, if you go down there and you work your ass off, you can become the next Andrew Ryan or the next Frank Fontaine. These are characters in the game that were... Andrew Ryan is the guy that built Rapture. Frank Fontaine is the guy who worked with him and became a more powerful figure. There's some stuff to that, but it's whatever. So...
What about Frank Sinatra? Where is he?
His songs are in there. Somewhere Across the Sea plays in the venue, and it's great. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of
a story.
There's a lot of that music in that game, and it's great.
Like jazz?
Yeah, kind of big band stuff.
Oh, cool.
Fallout 3 is also good for that.
Fallout 3?
Fallout 3, yeah.
Isn't that a racing game?
No, we'll get back to that. But fuck, I did it again. Stop screaming into the mic.
I did. I screamed this way.
Like, look at what you do. You ruined it. And so in these story-driven games, you're immersed in a world, you're presented characters, and you play accordingly. In the Telltale games, it's kind of that way, but you're supposed to make some decisions that kind of lead to different outcomes, but there's not that many because you can't write them. You can't write infinite outcomes. We're not at that level of game writing yet. That's more quantum than anything. That would be an alternate universe. It would be virtual reality at its absolute pinnacle.
Speaking about virtual reality, it's still, I guess, on the topic of video games. Have you ever seen those Google goggles? Like the virtual reality shits where you put your phone in?
Okay, two things. That's called Google Cardboard. Google.
No. There's another one.
Google Goggles is an app that was for Android a while back that lets you... It'll just look at things and either read text or
kind of translate
visual search and stuff like that.
Okay, well,
there's also...
That cardboard shit, it's like that, but way cooler. It's like actual virtual reality shit.
No, here's where that came from. The biggest push for that form factor was through a company called Oculus. They made the Oculus Rift. So it's a headpiece with a little screen that's like 1080p. It makes two kind of orb-shaped pictures in there. And it goes on your eyes. You get headphones. There's a camera that looks at where your head is. And so when you are in this thing, when you turn your head, you can see around in it. I've never worn an Oculus Rift, but I've seen it at this one tech show I went to in Austin. Engadget had a thing there, and I went with my friend Alex, and I watched a guy play with the Oculus Rift. Basically, drove a Jeep around, whatever. And virtual reality is starting to get good. It's starting to get interesting. Because Oculus Rift was they made dev kits. I think they're on the second dev kit now. And so it's just... Here's the form factor this is probably going to be in. This is how you program for it. There's a couple games out for it. Some games have support. Sometimes you can modify a game to work with it. Basically, you turn your head. It uses accelerometers and an infrared camera with some little dots on the thing to track your head motion. Then, we have different companies doing something similar. Google's contribution was Google Cardboard, where you put your phone in, and on these phones, which are basically high-resolution screens, it does the same thing. Put two orbs to kind of fit the way the eye moves around in there. Puts it in the cardboard sleeve, puts it on your face, and it works. I've never used it, but people have been satisfied with it, especially with anytime a YouTube video is a 360 video. And basically what that means is you take a special tripod with like 6 GoPros stuck to it. And then I don't know in what program, but you stitch together the view from those 6 GoPros, and you can look around in the video.
That is awesome. So
let's see. Achievement Hunter did a video like that for one of their shows called Go. Funhouse did that for their Dungeons & Dragons playthrough, which was cool, but it was a little taxing to kind of keep moving the camera. But if on any phone, I think any recent Android phone, if you pull up a 360 video in YouTube, you can move your phone around and look around in it. In Google Cardboard, that's what that is.
Huh.
So basically it goes full screen, does the two things, you just look around. And so like you can be standing and rotate the phone around and it moves the camera view.
Huh.
And so it's a really cool thing to play with. The two companies that have introduced their own thing, or 3 companies, so it's Google with Google Cardboard, Sony with, I can't remember what it's called, Morpheus, something like that. Something starts with an M. And they're doing, it's a similar form factor to Oculus Rift. It uses the PlayStation Move controllers to track your hand movement, and I think the PlayStation Eye camera. So, yeah, same thing. And then the most interesting one that I've heard about is the HTC Vive. HTC partnered with Valve, again, the company that makes Left 4 Dead, Half-Life, the Half-Life series, Portal, Dota, and yeah. So you're doing it right now. Yeah, and it's really cool.
Oh, hey. Can we have a live caller on the thing?
No, we cannot.
Uh,
So I'll just make a mark.
nah, that's cool.
Okay. So, the HTC Vive is one that's getting a lot of press attention because Valve has partnered with them and they made some demos that are kind of based in Portal. I've only heard about it in podcasts, but it sounds like this is one of the breakthrough points where it's so immersive that even with a headset on, you're sitting down or standing, you'll be like on a ledge or near a hole, and your body's like, oh, don't step over there, you'll fall in, even though it's solid floor in reality.
Yeah.
And so, like, it starts to trick people. And it kind of makes you realize how, really, for granted, we take vision and hearing and the sense of touch. Because sense of touch is probably hardest to mimic and replicate with this kind of stuff.
Oh my god.
But there's people, like, shooting ultrasonic waves at people's hands to make them like they're feeling stuff. And so it's super cool where virtuality is going. What does that mean for gaming? What does that mean for taking in, like, do we start having movie sets where you've got just a couple 360 cameras and everyone in the audience wears an Oculus Rift and they just kind of look around? Do they get
Kind
to
of like
walk
3D movies?
like, do they just walk around that way or whatever? But it's an interesting prospect. If you've ever seen an anime called Sword Art Online, that's a show in which you put on something called a nerve gear. It intercepts the signals coming from your brain and inserts you into this reality, but you can still feel everything. So
Kind
that's
of like 4D?
yeah, but in that show, it's not real, not yet anyway.
Oh.
But that's kind of the ultimate thing. Another anime, because I'm an anime nerd bit, called Ghost in the Shell is where you have a cyber brain, where your brain's just a computer and you can experience things that way as well. But yeah, we're on the cusp of a pretty cool thing. Well, I say that. Of course, VR has had spikes before, kind of like 3D movies have had spikes before. Maybe this one will come up with something. Maybe it won't. We're still deciding on the form factor that's going to work for everybody. And ultimately, you're wearing like a 1 or 2 pound object on your face. So how comfortable can that be? So how do you make that? How do you make the product lighter? How do you make it more responsive? Like on the Oculus Rift, you can't do a full 360 because the wires will get stuck. I think the HTC Vive was wireless, but I don't know that for sure. But basically, if you're rendering something in 3D like that, you're rendering it twice for each eye. And so it takes a lot of power. And also, if it's a small screen, you can't get a very high resolution screen. You want something like a 4K screen in like a 7-inch form factor so that it looks real, but you can still change things with it. But if you get like a little 720p screen, you're like, this is rendered right now. And it takes away from the immersion.
Can I shout that video out? Is that
Yeah.
against the...
No, go ahead and give a... Like,
So, as
imagine you just looked up 360
Yeah.
video.
As Bill was talking about it, I really wanted to see if it was possible.
Some nerd shit.
So I looked up YouTube 360 degree video, and I watched the Mythbuster Shark Shipwreck 360 video.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quick 4-minute video, but it is amazing. They even like label some of the sharks and stuff. It's really cool. Yeah, I'd really recommend checking it out. It is awesome. I'm gonna do this all day, like for the rest of my day. I don't care about homework anymore.
I'm really curious how you edit that in a video editor. Do you get a proprietary 3D video editing program, or do you just, like, if you just look at the footage by itself without it being stitched together, it looks like, you ever seen on a map how the Earth just kind of looks funny if it's stretched out flat? It looks kind of like that. So like you can see where each GoPro kind of fits in itself, whatever, and it looks weird. But then when it's displaying it, it like stretches it to where it looks kind of normal. And then that's how it works. But yeah, I'm curious.
I am also curious
how they edit that. That would be a cool thing. If we got a fucking 3D camera in the middle of the table, you can just kind of pan back.
Yeah, do we fucking have that kind of camera?
Do we have like $1,200 to drop just on cameras?
No. I wish we had more time because I had a question, like something I want to talk about.
What do you mean more time? We can go as long as we want.
What are we at right now, though?
Hour 14, but there's gonna be some editing, so like an hour 14.
What?
I think I edited out like a minute and a half or maybe 2 minutes of stuff on the last one. So just out of overall runtime, we're at an hour 15 and 5 and 6.
Well, I guess we can end on my story.
Sure.
Because I can ask for viewer advice.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Okay, in January, I keep saying I want to get some stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, are you familiar with electronic drum sets at all?
Yeah.
Okay, have you ever heard of the Roland TD30?
Yes. Back in my day, the TD20 was the number one module.
Yeah.
And then you could just buy pads or buy them as a set. At PASIC, the last PASIC that was in Texas,
Texas!
they had a TD20 with like the fire red shells and everything. And I remember playing on it a lot. And like just in general, to me, Roland stuff sounds really good. The samples are good.
For sure.
So like I have a Roland FP.
What kind of amp was it shooting out of?
It was in headphones. But I mean,
okay.
But I mean, I've got a digital piano from them, and I just like the way it sounds. Even out of the speakers in the damn thing, it just sounds good. So
Yeah.
I like Roland products. They're pricey though. God
Yeah.
damn, they're expensive.
So
that drum set I was talking about was $10,000, and I talked about it there, and he was like, "Nope, still $10,000." I'm like, fuck
wait,
that.
the TD20?
The TD20 with that whole shell kit. It was like 4 toms, a snare, and then a bunch of cymbals. It was a lot of pads, a lot of cymbals, and all the mounting hardware for it. And it was $10,000.
Well, as I take out 93 cents in change and a wrench from my pocket.
Cool.
So, I live in an apartment right now, kind of.
You do.
Kind
of.
Well, it's a townhome, apartment, whatever.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant. Well, I guess it is kind of relevant. So I wanted to get an electronic drum set.
Mm-hmm.
But the only drum set I would, electronic drum set I would ever, spend money on is a great one.
Yeah.
Because I hate the way normal pads feel. So I was between the TD30, TD25.
Mm-hmm.
I love the TD30. It's amazing response-wise, triggers, it is just amazing.
Yeah.
Retails for the normal TD30 is $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
The Pro version, which I would probably want to get, is $8,000.
Yeah, it's weird to me
how
expensive electronic drum sets are.
Yeah, but the brain on these motherfuckers are just huge. They're awesome. I absolutely love everything about it.
Yeah.
And I work at Guitar Center now, so I get a hefty discount.
Yeah.
So I was considering it. The TD25 retails for about $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of my coworkers is getting it with his discount for maybe $1,500.
Yeah.
Total. So I was like, oh, that's super doable, you know?
Yeah.
In January, I wanted to get some custom cymbals, some Dark K custom cymbals, which are about $500 for the pack.
Mm-hmm.
Retail price.
It's really $500 for a pack.
I think so. I think that's what I saw.
I might not have an excuse to not get better cymbals now. I thought packs were $800.
Well, they vary. You could get them.
I don't know. For some reason in my head I was thinking it was going to be $300 for a pair of good hats.
Well, you're not wrong.
Depends on the hat, I guess.
Yeah, Master Sound.
Hi-hats, not
Master
actual
Sound
hats.
hi-hats run about $195 each hi-hat.
Each upper,
So top
lower?
and bottom.
So it's $400 together.
Yeah. So you're not wrong.
Okay.
But let me double check on
That's
that.
probably more top of the line. I like my shells. I think they sound okay.
Yeah.
I like them how they sound right now with the Evans 360 hydraulic heads on them. Takes out the overtones. They're still a fusion set.
We're
so
talking drums today.
So
That should be the topic next week. Drums. Let's talk drums next week.
Okay. Do we want to cut this off here? Or I'll just keep going.
No, we'll talk about it. We'll updates.
Yeah. So there's a fusion set. So the sizes are 8, 10, 12, and 8, 12, 13, and 14 for tom sizes. Then 14 for the snare as well. They're relatively small drums in as far as drum set goes. The kick is fucking enormous. It's like a 22 by 18 or 22 by 22. It's huge.
No, it's not 22 by 22.
Okay. It's deep as hell. I don't know. It's deep as hell.
Oh shit, I was way off, Bill.
And then what is it?
$8.99
Oh, for what?
for the pack.
Oh, okay. Fuck. Never mind. I was completely justified in my afraidness. So, but my cymbals are starter Sabian.
I'll probably get it for $500 or $600 with
Yeah.
my discount. Is what I meant.
I have basically a starter set of Sabian V8 cymbals. Bought them when I was 13, and just kind of been adding on from there. I bought some Rock Crashes in the V8 series, which they're okay cymbals. I don't like the tone. Something about the way they sounds like amateur to me. I don't.
Just bronzy.
I guess that's it. I think I don't know if this is true, but I feel like Zildjian uses more silver in their compounds, in their alloys,
I think so.
and so you get a brighter sound. Something about their alloy is brighter.
I just like Zildjian.
Yeah.
Zildjian, if you want to endorse me, I would be more than happy.
I have a
play your
Zildjian
stuff.
shirt.
I only want to play Zildjians.
We'll totally wear it on the next podcast. I'll wear my Zildjian shirt.
I'll wear no shirt, but I will write Zildjian on my stomach.
Jesus Christ. And
I
so,
will not do that.
I'm okay with my shells. I think in hindsight, I prefer a standard size kit with deeper sounding toms because I think that's what I want. Honestly, I like the snare. I want a piccolo snare. I'm not sure why. I just do. Like I'd like.
Oh, you're wanting to spend your $75. Well, you can buy one right now for $59 at Guitar Center. It's a really nice 13x3 Mapex. That's a great size too.
A Mapex, really?
Yeah, it's. I actually owned it at one point. It's really good.
That might be what I do. Spend my little.
But
discount.
don't go until Saturday because I work Saturday.
Okay.
I won't make a difference. I can't give you a discount yet, but
It'll make you look good.
and I couldn't anyways because it's on clearance.
And it'll move a damn drum out of inventory because how
And while you're there, you should ask to see the Black Panther because I tuned it because I would love to have one of those. And it sounds amazing. It's a
So
Mapex drum.
It's
It's a snare drum, yeah.
But I'd like, a thin little piccolo snare. But then I think I'd also like a big fucking
Firecracker?
like a big metal, like a pork pie, something in that line.
We have a pork pie too, but it's not $75.
Yeah. But either a big nickel plated snare, or just a big
You know what we
ash
should
or-
try to find?
What?
Those old Yamaha snares that used to come. You can get a really good sound out of those. Like
Yeah.
those real steel ones. You can find them real cheap at fucking pawn shops
But
too.
no, the snare I have now is a 14x5, I think, 4.5, something.
4.5.
like that. 4.5, yeah. And it's like a general purpose snare. I can do a lot with it. I'm not a big fan of how the snares actually sound. I think the last time I was at Guitar Center, you were pointing at snares,
Yeah.
and that would be a good idea, but it looked expensive.
It was $18 for the ones I was telling you.
That's not that bad. You know what I can do with the snares off of this one? Cut them in half and use them in cajones.
Yeah, that's another thing you could do. Bill, we're talking drums next week. I wanted to tell my story so that I could get our listeners advice if they have any.
Okay.
So, I was thinking about these two drum sets, right? TD30 is going to be anywhere from $5 to $7 grand, which is kind of expensive, but I'm willing to save up to get it. But and then I was also thinking about the TD25, which is going to be 15.
Yeah.
Which is way more realistic.
Yeah.
Are
the pads, are those tunable with the mesh?
Yeah, they are. And the only difference that I really see, honestly, aside from the brain size and what they do, the TD30 has a full shell.
Yeah.
The TD25 has half a shell.
Right.
And I guess it's not a big deal, whatever. But it I don't know.
Sorry, my voice gave out halfway through that.
My girlfriend brought up a very valid point. She said, if you're going to waste that much money on an electronic drum set,
Waste is not a nice word to put that, but all right.
why not just, we're going to be living in a house soon. Why not just spend money on a real drum set or things for your current drum set? And I was like, that makes way more sense. That's
Like
a very
soundproofing
valid...
and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking soundproofing because I wanted a shield, but shields are like $2 grand. Well, the one I want
Okay.
that clear sonic one that Mr. Shin has.
Right.
That's like $2 grand.
Well, I mean, the thing is, what's the one that's at Guitar Center right now?
It's like a cheap fucking $400.
Here's what I think. The difference between his sound shield and the one that's at Guitar Center is the soundproofing foam that's on there.
Yeah, but it's also
Is it
proofed everywhere, like front, back, top. It's like you're in a booth. It's a booth. It's not a shield.
Well, it's not. Is it thicker Lexan or anything
Yeah,
like that?
it is.
Well, that's kind of a difference, but that soundproofing, that doesn't come with that. He did that.
Yeah, no, it does.
It does?
Yeah, that's why it's $2 grand, almost $3 grand.
I feel like you could get the one at Guitar Center, get a bunch of square feet of the soundproofing,
Well,
and get a similar result.
Soundproofing isn't expensive.
Eh,
I have a discount.
oh, right, okay.
I was just gonna soundproof the whole motherfucking room.
Yeah.
I don't play late at night anyways, cause whatever. But I was thinking, we're talking drums next week. Let me finish with my dilemma.
Okay. We could do a little fake ending, and I cut that on where I determine the end, and we can like glue. No, that doesn't make sense. Instead of like gluing this little end bit, we'll dovetail into it next time. We can talk about drums forever, so I'm not worried that we can talk about drums for a while. It'll be a video podcast. We can like.
Well, I was gonna introduce both. I was gonna introduce Lola and whatever your drums called.
Yeah.
But
Steve.
All right.
Always Steve.
Okay, so to kind of speed up the process a little bit, because we'll talk about this for fucking ever. I was thinking, shit, instead of spending the $2,000, because that's the list price for the TD25,
Right.
spend the $2,000 on the Zildjian hybrid Ks,
Yeah.
which are also listed as $2,000. Comes with hi-hats, your ride, 2 crashes, and I think a splash.
That's got you outfitted for like most gigs.
Yeah, but I was also thinking, do I need that many cymbals? Because I was gonna save up.
You're talking to the wrong person about needing cymbals. Remember, I just kept adding on to it till it got ridiculous. They're not all set up because I'm out of working cymbal stands, but I have a problem when it comes to
You see, that's what I was gonna do, and I was thinking, well, I was gonna save up, the $2,000 for the drum set and save up again for the cymbals. But if I'm spending that on the cymbals, I could just buy hardware with that extra money I was gonna do, and or buy a rack.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started thinking, I have a small drum set. Like it's gonna look stupid with fucking that many cymbals in a rack.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, do I buy a new drum set? And have one drum set set up as like a studio drum set for me to practice on, use all the time, and have the other one put away, for when I have gigs.
Yeah.
And do that, or what the fuck do I do? So I know it seems total first world rich problem, but it's not the case. I'm just gonna save a shit ton.
That's not a first world problem. That is a drummer problem.
So
where do I put my money into something that I do for a living?
Invest?
Yes.
But yes, if anybody has some advice or anybody has different options on what I could spend money on,
I will share my opinion next time.
All right.
So you'll just have to wait.
You'll probably tell me right now, anyways.
No, I won't.
Okay.
Because I've already forgotten what it was. So I'll have to listen back to this and be like, what was I going to say?
All right. I think that's good enough for today.
Yeah, I think we've gone for just under an hour and a half, which is about where we've been.
Yeah.
It's pretty consistently landing. And I think that's a good length for a podcast. At least an hour.
Yep.
That gives people something to listen to in their commute.
That's what I do. It's 45 minutes to the high school, 45 minutes back.
So that's when you listen. Okay. I tend to listen. I mean, if I'm doing the editing, I just listen straight through in most cases. So I do listen to it, but...
It's fun. It's great that we dish it out every Monday, because every Monday is when I travel out, so...
Yeah, I like the idea of having it out on a set day. We'll see if that falls apart as you and I get busier or as I become a grad student, but... I think having, the weekend in front of it, that gives us an opportunity to record, an opportunity for me or someone to edit.
Well, you have to keep in mind, next week when we do video, you're going to have to edit this audio. I'm going to have to edit the video, too.
I think for that, I'll edit it in the sense that I make sure nothing, it's not peaking and it's loud enough, but I probably won't make any cuts. I'll leave the cutting to you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to do that, too.
Because I can make cuts, or I could suggest cuts, but it would be silly. So I think... I'll just make sure it doesn't peak and make sure it's loud enough, like I do anyway. Or censor anything that needs to be censored.
Like people's last names.
Like people's last names. But
like Colin, insert last name here.
Colin last name? Yeah, otherwise it'll be up to you to make the cuts. I might give you some notes, like cut out the 8 minutes of silence where you and I were just staring blankly into the wall.
We should have some food, too. So you should get us some pizza.
Make it a whole event.
Yeah, you should get us some pizza again. I'll bring us some drinks. All right, we're just rambling on now. Thank you, everybody that listens. Please tell your friends and family. If you tell 10 people, they'll tell people. And that's like 7 billion people right there.
I mean, yeah.
Tune in next week. Every Monday, you will hear the Always Wrong podcast. Tune in next week to hear some drum talk and a video podcast. Also, Bill will be coming out in dress. Don't miss that. See you all next week.